All right, I am live. And hello, everyone. Welcome to day 2. I am not sure. Let's see. I want to make sure that I am actually the speaker. Let's see. That's gallery and that's speaker. But I'm seeing you, Joanne, but I see me. Okay, never mind. I'm good. Technology, we're all good. So welcome to day 2 of my free 3-day challenge, how to go from overlooked and underappreciated to empowered and applauded. I'm Joanne Newborn, certified lifestyle and leadership coach with my company, Newborn Evolution. And I have found through my nearly 20-year corporate career that there is a real lack of leadership out there. So I'm very passionate about this. I'm passionate about helping career-focused individuals who feel frustrated and stressed out and unfulfilled to be able to create this leadership mindset so they can get this dream job with their ideal salary and a luxurious, and I like to say guilt-free work-life balance. So just a little bit more about me. I have my MBA from Penn State with Beta Gamma Sigma honors, and I'm also a member of the International Coaching Federation. So a quick rundown, in case you weren't here yesterday, of the next 2 days. So for today and tomorrow, we will meet here on Zoom. I am on Zoom with a group of amazing people. I would love for people to be here on Zoom with me. So because I am doing a live Q&A after the live here on Facebook. And I also am doing a little bit of coaching as well. We had a great time yesterday. So if you missed out on day 1, you can still join us. In fact, you can still join us now. There's a link in the post, and you'll get the Zoom link if you sign up there. But you can join us tomorrow too. It's in the Facebook post, how to sign up. So there will also be homework each day because it is a challenge. I will be asking everyone, whether you're on Zoom or on Facebook, to post your homework in the post with this video, and I will be checking in and tabulating. All homework should be posted in my private Facebook group, the Newborn Evolution Global Leadership Vortex. And I will be giving away 2 prizes and announcing the winners on Thursday, June 17th in my Facebook community. So stay tuned. I'm giving away 2 scholarships to my 5-week course, Speak Up, Quit Hiding in the Shadows, and Step into Your Leadership Potential. So the link to find out more about that is in the post as well. So a brief recap of yesterday. We talked about looking inside at things from our past that shaped the way we act in our careers. And I talked about how our minds become conditioned, the stories around the conditioning, how we relive the story over and over again, kind of like Groundhog Day, and how these stories negatively affect our career and why we become overlooked and underappreciated. And I also shared some firsthand vulnerable stories about my own childhood and my career and how they were connected. So I gave a few examples. If you missed day 1, you can still see it. It's in the vortex. You can just scroll down below and the video is there. We had a really robust 30-minute group discussion around this yesterday in the live Zoom Q&A, which for the record is not recorded. So because I want it to be a safe space. So if you weren't on Zoom, I'm sorry that you kind of missed out on some of the juiciest stuff of the day. But like I said, you have the opportunity to join us today and tomorrow. Okay, so for day 1, for the homework, I asked everyone to share in the vortex some of the discoveries that you all had and what shaped you and what led you to act in certain ways. And I called this looking inside. So today, I want to talk about looking inside versus looking outside. So if you're a worker bee like me, then perhaps you did not like the water cooler people. These are people I talked about yesterday. The ones who are always chatting without a care in the world. They're not worried about getting their work done. I also call these people Jiminy Crickets because they were outside, busy, playing fun, while I was like the little chipmunk putting all the acorns away for the winter. So what I was doing was I was looking outside. I didn't like them. I blamed them somehow for my own unhappiness and the lack of my career success. And then I saw them climbing up the ladder of success just from schmoozing with the higher ups while I stayed the worker bee. So it was their fault. And guess what? I found them. Oh my goodness. Thank you, John, for letting me know that. But I will grab it from the Facebook recording. So we're all good, but that was a good catch because I still need a stage manager. I can turn it on now. But I can grab it from the Facebook as well. So we have the whole thing. Thank you. So yes, so I was saying it was their fault. It's the Jiminy Cricket's faults, right? But here's the thing. I found them wherever I went. Whatever job I went to, there they were, the Jiminy Crickets chirping away, doing nothing, getting promoted. But what I didn't know at that time was that they were just reflecting something in me. Now I'm going to pause because you might be saying, what? Because that sounds crazy. So yesterday, I told you the story from when I was a little kid and I looked longingly out the window at the kids playing and having fun and me not being able to join them. And I called that conditioning because our minds do this. Our minds absorb the stuff around us and our minds create stories around these things that happen to us. And those become our stories. So for example, my story was that other people get to have fun and play, but not me. I'm the worker bee. And how that led me to seeing myself in my career. And anything outside of being a worker bee, like someone who plays and has fun, my mind filed that away as bad. Those people were bad. They were users, they were schmoozers, and they were Jiminy Crickets. But what actually was happening, okay, hold on to your hats, kids, because this is big. What was actually happening was those people were just acting as a mirror to me. And they were reflecting back to me what my mind had hidden away as bad. So while I was blaming them and feeling like what they were doing was coming from the outside, right? Because it was coming from them, it was actually a reflection of what was going on inside of me, except I couldn't see it. These are our blind spots. It's hidden away in our unconscious mind. So that's the way the mind works, is that we cannot really see these areas inside of us because our mind wants to hide them from us. Why? Because many times these things that we wrap stories around are really painful to us. They have pain around them. And for me, it was painful not to be able to go out and play. And so looking longingly at the kids having all the fun while I had to do my homework first, and there was no one for me to play with, that was painful. I didn't have siblings, right? So all of this was really lonely for me. That was kind of my window to be able to interact with other people my age. And so I missed that window because after that, there was no one to play with. So this felt very lonely. And my mind tucked this painful experience away and it labeled it as those people who are out there enjoying life were bad, in addition to all the other names I've given them over the past 2 days, right? So what do we do about this? Okay, so now I've given you this nugget of information. What do we do about it? Okay, first, I want you to think about all the people that you do not like. And I want you to think about what are some of the things that they do. Can you come up with a bunch of them throughout your career? And you can put some of the comments, some of the traits in the comments so that I can see. Were they boastful? Were they taking center stage? Did they upstage you? Did they gossip about you and others? So you can give me some examples and I can take a look at them. Now, boastful, conceited, dismiss your ideas. They're dismissive. Yeah. Okay. So you might not all get this concept right away. You might not grasp it right away because it is a really big concept and it's a bit hard to digest that people are actually reflecting back to us something in us. Yeah, and so Mary's saying work avoiders. Yeah, fake people, work avoiders. That's such a great name. So the fact that people are reflecting back something to us. Yeah, and Susie's saying very concerned and focused on their looks. Definitely. Not compassionate to others, self-centered. This is great. This is really great. So like I said, this is a big concept. It might be hard to digest that people are actually reflecting something inside of us. So I really want to dig into this in the Q&A on Zoom tonight. And if you're watching on Facebook, like I said, there's still time to join us. You can join us also tomorrow evening. The link is there in the post. So you might be thinking, well, how do I differentiate between someone who's reflecting something inside of me versus someone who's just really pissing me off and making me angry? So if you're thinking that, you can say yes, you're thinking that, because that is a really, really, really good question. So if you're thinking that, you can let me know. So I'm going to teach you how to tell the difference between someone who is just really pissing you off, that really you should be angry, and or versus someone who's just reflecting back to you something that's hidden in your unconscious. I know we're getting really deep here. And then versus when you should be genuinely angry. So does that make sense to you guys? The difference between when someone's reflecting something back at you versus when you really should be angry. So there's a few ways to tell. And I don't expect everyone to get this immediately, but I would start writing things down as they come up and start assessing your situations. Like every time you're getting angry or triggered or pissed off, like just write it down, and then you can kind of work through it after, and you can start to build this muscle of how to tell the difference. So if you've got this going on, you should be genuinely upset. You should be genuinely angry when someone is crossing a boundary. Is someone crossing a personal boundary of yours? Are they causing you harm? Are they harming your reputation? Are they doing something that you have asked them not to do? Those are all crossing boundaries. Now, if someone is just pissing you off, but they aren't really crossing a boundary, and I'll give you some examples. They're talking too loudly. They're being a water cooler person or a Jiminy Cricket, or they're schmoozing too much, but they're not really doing anything that affects you directly. Then they're probably reflecting something inside of you. Like I always find it really funny when people get really triggered when someone's chewing too loudly, or, if someone's talking too much and chit-chatting too much. Like those are things that trigger you, but they're not really like hurting you, or like I said, crossing a boundary. Okay, so now there's a third piece to this. If they're crossing a boundary, or even if they're doing one of these other things, have you stated your boundary? Because many of us, including myself, so I can talk about all this stuff because like I'm the number one student here. We might have an internal boundary, but we're the only ones that know about it because we're too afraid to state the boundary. And so here's where we can start to learn and grow. And I'm going to talk about this a lot tomorrow, about boundary setting and how to make your own rules to really be empowered and applauded. And that takes courage, right? That's the next step that takes us to empowerment, is really having this courage to set the boundaries, state the boundaries, and really start to speak up. So I want to take some time in the Q&A today to discuss the difference between these two elements, and what is a reflection of something from your unconscious versus what is something you should genuinely be upset about. And I'd like to share examples in a safe space today. So I can just give you a quick example. I didn't put a very long example, but the people that were the water cooler people, the Jiminy Crickets, they were reflecting something inside of me. However, I have had very toxic, abusive bosses in my career. And when someone is displaying abusive behavior, like screaming at me, like purposely embarrassing me in front of my team, cutting me down, those are areas where I could genuinely be angry, but there were also things to learn about being triggered too. But that person was crossing a boundary, right? You don't scream at people in their face in a professional work situation. So that's kind of a quick example there. Okay, so here's everyone's homework for today. I would like for you to reflect on the difference. And I would like for you to share in the comments in the vortex one example from your inner world being reflected in your outer world, and one example of someone who genuinely crossed a boundary at work, in your career. And you could use your personal life too, if that helps make it easier. And it will start to really make you think, why are you upset with them? Right? Why are you really upset with them? Like, why was I really upset with the water cooler people and the Jiminy Crickets? Because I wasn't allowing myself to have fun, right? So feel free to ask any questions in the vortex, and I can help continue to give you clarity around this difference as well if you are watching on Facebook or if you're watching the replay. Okay, so before I open it up to my awesome people in the Zoom room, I want to remind everyone that the 2 people who are the most engaged will win a spot with free tuition to my new course, Speak Up, Quit Hiding in the Shadows, and Step into Your Leadership Potential. There's a link there with all the information. The normal cost for the course is $97. So it's important that you post in the community so I can see. And yeah, if you want to join us tomorrow in the Zoom room for Q&A, please feel free. We've got 1 day left. It's free. And so tomorrow is our final day. Well, that went really fast. I will be back here tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, same place. And I'm going to, where is the vortex? Oh, so it's my community. Hold on, I'll give you the link before we sign off Zoom, and I will get you that. But you'll see this video on there, and you can just post your comments there. So I'm going to disconnect from Facebook, and we're gonna go deep today. So give me 2 seconds here.